What's up? All right, I could basically have done this video as like I could have done this as like a pre-recorded video, but let me see if I can turn it this way. Can I rotate? No? But yeah, I'm choosing to do this as um live stream just because I think like if anybody wants to interact while I'm talking, But anyway, I'm just gonna go ahead and talk, and whomever sees this afterwards, and it is what it is. So, I have a few things that I want to talk about as things that I've gone through, been going through, just got over since being here, and of course, this is a casual chit chat. Yeah, nothing formal or anything. As you can see, yard settings. Well, it's always yard settings with me, but yeah. But the first thing I want to talk about is my gaze content test. So, you have to be certified in whatever state that you're going to be working, right? As a teacher. Hi, Yaf. Oh, you've been waiting from yesterday. Cool, cool. um, well, here I am. And thank you for joining. I'm not really one to like wait when I get onto a live, like to wait for people to come in. So like when you come in, you come in, and I just get started right away. So yeah, I wanted to talk about firstly my gaze content test. So like you're expected to be certified in whatever state that you're in, right? I feel like I want to put my phone up because I'm a very expressive, like I talk with my hands, and I feel like holding the phone right now isn't really helping me. But yeah, I keep having to clear my throat because um I don't know if it's a C word, but something is happening. Um oh, you're waiting to call for an interview and you're okay, I'm pretty sure that you'll be successful, just relax yourself and know that you know your stuff and you'll be fine. But yeah, so this is something that nobody told me about prior to coming here, and I didn't expect this at all. Hi Marlene, and thank you for subscribing. um so yeah, when you get through with your job and whatever, you have to do a content, not the content test yet. You have to do an ethics test as a part of getting a certification, and this is of course for the state of Georgia. So what if things going in one time? Let me just try to feel like it's not clear. Right, so you have to do an ethics test as a part of, trying to get your certification, so that you can, when you get a teacher certification, you get your correct pay and stuff. You can start working without your certification, but you won't be getting your correct pay. So yes, so I did my thing, got my certification, and when I got my certification, it said, this certificate is valid for 3 years, and you must complete the requirements listed on the certification. Me not fully understanding, a coworker of mine that's also on the same program that I am on, she was trying to tell me that you need to sign up and do a content test. And I'm like, okay, if I have a content test to do, I'm gonna do it. But I'm gonna do it in my own time. Because I did the ethics test and the ethics test was so easy because it's literally just some modules and you answer some questions after each modules. And of course I can't say what it contains for ethical reasons. But I thought that the content test was going to be very similar to the ethics test. Hi, Teacher P Downer. Guys, that's my cousin. Go over to her YouTube and ensure that you subscribe. But yes, guys, the chat is like coming up and going back down. And as Teacher P Downer said, like the video, guys. Like the video. So yes, guys. So I was doing where am I? Yeah, I thought that the content test was gonna be like the ethics test, where I just, pay for it, go online, um, do the modules and whatever, not knowing that the content test was something totally different. And my coworker, she kept saying to me, go and sign up for the content test because it's hard to get a date for it, and sometimes I need time because what if you fail? You need time to redo the test and whatever. And I just wasn't getting it until I let a whole year pass. So you guys now came up in 2021. So by the end of 2020, by 2022, at the end, by the end of the school year, summer, I was like, okay, I have time now. Let me log in and see if I can get this content test done, only to realize that the content test wasn't online like the ethics test, and it was much more expensive. It's a physical location that you have to go to. You have to sign up, find a location, pay your money. Like the ethics test is like $30, $35, or $40. The content test was a combined test, two tests in one, and it was like $193. So totally different. Went to look for a date. There was no date because the testing period had passed. The next time would have been in October. So I was now realizing that this test, it was just different. So I was looking for dates when the new school year started. That was 2022 to 2023 school year. I was looking for dates. Finally found a date for sometime in October. And then the test location was going to be like 2 hours away from where I live. Lucky for me, I was kind of depressed about it at first, but my principal didn't approve my leave request for that day when I had the exam to do, because we were coming from a holiday and he was saying that you can't take a leave right after a holiday. So lucky for me, it wasn't approved, because guys, when I did the practice test for the content test, because you have practice tests online for them, I realized that this test was so hard. By the way, I teach Spanish. As teacher of Spanish and French, but here I'm only teaching Spanish, and it's a Spanish test that I needed to do. The test was so hard. I've never done any test as hard as this test, like in college or ever in my life. And this was the practice test, and I was saying, God, please don't let the real test be as hard as the practice test. Hello, you guys. Hi, Edna from Ghana. Hi everybody. So yeah, by the way, not everybody has to do a content test. It depends on what you're teaching. So I had to do a content test. I teach Spanish. If you teach French, you have to do a content test. I think if you do elementary education, you have to do a content test. If you do music, you have to do a content test. If you do science, you have to do a content test. Math, you have to do a content test. English, you have to do a content test. There are many subject areas that have to do content tests to fully meet the requirements for full certification. So after the 3 years, if you don't do the content test, they will not be renewing your certificate. So yes, did the practice test, and I scored so low, and I was like, I know I'm not done. I am not a slow person, I'm bright. So why why is this test so hard? So what I realized about it was, it's like, what made it difficult for me is, one, I'm not a native Spanish speaker. That's one, and I'm doing a Spanish test. I'm not a native Spanish speaker. And yes, while I know my thing, in that particular test, the vocabulary that was used in there was just different. Like when from the practice test, if I Googled a word that I didn't know, when I saw the word in English, I didn't know the word in English either. So that was just something else for me. Anyway, God so made it happen that we had an open house day at school, and we had parents coming in to see us and whatnot. A parent of mine, she was telling me that she teaches Spanish and she's from Panama. And I was asking her about the test. I was like, thank God I finally get to talk to somebody who has done the test already. And she was telling me that this test was for her as a native Spanish speaker. I'm telling you, this test has pictures in it. I can't really fully explain for ethical reasons. I don't want to get too much into the details. But if you ever look at one of the practice tests, you'd see just what I'm talking about. Most people who do their test, they think that they fail at first until they get the pass, and there are a lot of people who actually fail their tests. So now I'm saying, all right, I'm in my second year. I need to get this test done, because if I don't get it done by next year, then guys, no certificate, and no certificate means what? I have to go back to my country, because I can't teach in the people in the country without the license. So the pressure is on, and I should have listened to my coworker the first time she was telling me in my first year, get this test done, get this test done. And she was saying, like, even if you fail the first time, just try to get the test done at least, so you can get a feel of what it's like, and then you can have time to redo it. Mind you, it's not like if I do the test today and I fail, I can just reschedule next week or reschedule tomorrow. Everything takes time. So like for my test, it like the date that I get is like 2 months, from the date that I booked the test for. Let's say I did the test on that particular date. I have to wait another 3 to 6 weeks to get the results. And then after that, now then I can rebook for another test, which would probably be another 2 months away from that. So you don't really have a lot of chances, right? If your time frame is really short to do this test. Um, so yeah. So back to the story. Back to the other part of the story. So yeah, I was speaking to the parent who is from Panama, and telling me that, even she as a native speaker found it very hard. And she told me about a book that she found on Amazon that helped her with the test. So thankfully for that, I ordered the book, and the book had a lot of history in it and culture and all of that. I didn't to this day I haven't been able to go through the whole book because it was so much. But I'm still thankful that I was able to go through that book. Test day. Guys, as I tell you before, I'm sick. And so my voice isn't like 100%. But yes. Test day. I went to the site because I rebooked after I got declined for the day in October. I rebooked and I got a date in February. Went to the testing site. There were other people there doing the same test. And that in and of itself was another thing, because I thought that given that it's Spanish, there was a reading component, a listening component, a speaking component, a writing component. And for the speaking component of it, like, you can hear other people, like maybe you're still at the reading part and somebody else is speaking, and it's distracting because the time is going. Guys, I have my testimony, because during the test I can tell you that for my first section I never finished. Like when I saw that I had 1 minute to go, I just started clicking answers, like not reading anything. I just started clicking answers, click, because I always tell my students it's better to answer than don't answer, because if you either answer and guess, at least there's a chance of you getting there's a chance of you getting some points. Is it as short to get an interview after the GACE assessment test? You mean the GACE the ethics test? Because the content test would be something that you get after you've been hired and everything already. It all depends on the program that you're trying to get through with and their procedure. So I can't say for sure. But if they tell you to do the ethics test, just go ahead and do it in the meantime. But yeah. So I did my test under those rough circumstances. As I said, I've never done a test this hard before, ever. I went through college for 4 years. I did my master's, and I've never gone through something this difficult. Then there was a waiting period. Waited, and after about 3 weeks, almost 4 weeks, I got the results, and I had passed. Thank you, Jesus. But guys, trust me. Trust me. That test, it was like a hit or miss. And not all the tests are as difficult as I'm explaining them. This was just for Spanish and how I found it. My colleagues who did theirs found it difficult as well. So I know I'm not the only one in that boat who was thinking that the test was just so hard. So that's the GACE content test. After you get your certificate and you get it approved for 3 years, you have 3 years to do your content test. As soon as you can, try to do the test and get it out of the way. If you fail, you can redo the test. Like I said, everything takes time. So you fail now, you can reschedule until another time, and it's a whole thing. But with the whole certification thing, everything that your company is selling you to do to get certified, please do it. Because I didn't understand, none of us really understood a lot of things. We came here, we started working because you can't start working without the certificate, the license that is. They give you some time to get it. But for me, because I didn't have my license, I had signed up already, but everything wasn't in yet. And so I didn't get my correct pay the first time. So when I got my very first paycheck and I saw 1,000 and a little bit of money, I was like, what is this? Like, how am I gonna live? This is not workable. But yeah, so tried to get it in order after I got my certificates and I sent it into the compensation team for my county. They started it out and then I started getting my correct pay. So if you want to see a correct paycheck, please, everything that your sponsor tell you to do to get your certificate, do it. Do it. Because in the end, it's you that will benefit from that. So for all of you, I see people in the comments saying that they have interviews and whatnot. My suggestion is be yourself. If you have a bubbly personality like me, be your same bubbly personality person. People have to accept you for who you are. The interview is for them to know and understand who you are as a person. Don't be well. I don't want to say don't be nervous, because obviously nerves will be a part of it, but just do your best. Be your best. Prepare for any question, you know? And from what I've realized, even if people tell you what they could possibly ask you in the interview, it's almost better to go into an interview not knowing what they're going to ask. Because what happens is you start thinking about some things that you could possibly, give as your answer. And when they ask you a question that's similar but not quite the same thing, you think that they're asking you something else because that's what you prepared for, and then you end up not really answering the question. Sorry, guys. I keep having to clear my throat. Yes. Anyway, another trial that I went through was living. Should I talk about this? I'm going to touch it a little bit. Living with a stranger. So if you guys, been watching some of my videos, you'd understand. I came here not knowing where I would be laying my head the very, very first night. Left my country not knowing where I would be sleeping that night because nothing was confirmed. I didn't have any apartments lined up yet. I didn't get accepted to any apartments or anything yet. And our program sponsor at the time was only offering us like a motel for like 3 days, and then afterwards you gotta find somewhere to live. So for me, I came here with another girl from the program. We didn't know each other or anything, but we were placed in a WhatsApp group. Like all the teachers who were accepted, we were placed in a WhatsApp group, and so we started, communicating with each other. I found out that this girl, she was, coming into close to my area, I guess. We're coming through the same airport, and we decided to travel together. And I was saying to myself, well, neither of us know where we're living because neither of us have anything confirmed. Guys, I don't have any family member in Georgia. I didn't have any friend in Georgia. So I couldn't even say, okay, I'm going to, catch with somebody over here or, stay with somebody over there. I had zero persons to, rely on. So yeah, we traveled together. We came here on a 17 hours flight. Mind you, Atlanta is like 2 hours and 30 minutes away from Jamaica. But because we were going the cheaper route, we took a 17 hours flight where I think we went to North Carolina first, then back down into I think Florida, if I remember clearly, and then to Atlanta. I think that was the route I remember. But it was 17 hours. We had to sleep at the airport one of the nights. And that's something I will never ever do again because that was so uncomfortable. So anyway, we got to Atlanta, excited at the airport. We're talking to the program sponsor, and they're leading us to the person that's to come pick us up. That person, he brought us to somebody else who is on the program. That person gave us lunch. and then we were brought to a motel where we had to share a room, which was strange for me, strange for us, because we don't, like I said, we didn't know each other. But I think because we told the program sponsors that we were traveling together, they assumed that we knew each other, which we didn't. But anyway, so we had the same room but different beds. And while we were there, she communicated to the program sponsors like, hey, where am I going to live? Because this she was in my county, which she should be in a different county. She was like, okay, my county is like an hour away from here. I can't stay here if I'm going to be going to school and whatnot. So yeah. Oh, I'm sorry guys, I didn't realize that more comments were coming in. um I'm sorry. Yeah. So yeah, um while I was there, because everybody was going, the girl that was with me, everybody, most of the people from my program in that year, they were going to her program, to her county, sorry. I was the only one from my county, and so there was nobody for me to rely on to say, where are you staying? And I realized that they kept looking out for the people who were going to the other county, and I still didn't have anywhere to go. Finally, while I was at the motel, I think on the second day, because I got here like the Friday, on the Saturday, they found somebody in my county who had an extra room. She's also on the program, and she agreed to let me stay there at a cost. I had to pay, she wanted me to pay $25 a day to stay there, which time I was just so happy to stay somewhere. Plus, it was very close to my school, like walking distance to my school. So I was very happy to have somewhere to stay, not realizing that $25 is kind of high, because I stayed there for a month and I ended up paying like $725, and the lady's rent was like $800. Mm, I wish I could do the raise eyebrow thing. Those people that can raise their eyebrows. I can't do it. But yeah, your rent is $800 and you have me paying $725, miss. Anywho, but I was still grateful because I remember I didn't have anywhere to go, anybody to stay with. So still happy that I had somewhere to stay for the time being. But that in and of itself, just living with a complete stranger who is from a completely different culture and religion from me, was it was just so different. Um I'm wondering if the interview questions are general or geared towards subject area. I am family and consumer science. Some of the questions, it depends on the school, because the schools will set their questions. Some programs, it's the county that interview you. But for some of the questions, it will be somewhat related to your subject area naturally. It depends on who is in the interview. If you're going to a high schools usually have bigger departments, so you may have somebody else in the same department as you, and so maybe somebody from your department would want to ask you some questions related directly to your subject area. For me, nobody asked me anything about Spanish. They didn't even ask me to think there to say anything in Spanish or anything like that, even though it's Spanish out, I was being interviewed for. Thank God I accepted a job offer and will be moving to North Carolina. Congratulations, Marlene. Congratulations. I use participate, excellent program. Okay, that's excellent. Using Teach Savannah, that's good, yeah, because at least with Teach Savannah you can get a H1B visa and eventually get your green card. So awesome, 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 awesome. But yeah, guys, living with a stranger who was from a different culture, different religion, was something in and of itself. And even if you're living with somebody who it can be challenging, because we all have our different ways that we want to live. I don't want to get too much into it, but I'm happy that I'm out. I see 13 people online and only 5 likes. Guys, like the video. Like the video for me, please, and thank you. All right. The last struggle that I want to talk about, because I'm not here for no long live. I just wanted to do a live. As I said before, I could have done this as a pre-recorded video, but I didn't want to. But yes, acquiring a state ID. So if you come here to work, you are able to get a state ID. But the issue that I had, guys, remember I've been here from 2021, and in January of 2022, I went down to Georgia Driver Department Services, if that's what they're called, to get myself a state ID. I wasn't ready to get the driver's license yet, but I just wanted a state ID for whatever purposes, just so I don't have to be walking up and down with my passport everywhere I go, right? And the very first time we went, they said that okay, they were updating their system or upgrading their system, and they were having some glitches. And they looked at my documents and everything, and they said that they were unable to verify my identity. Cool. I returned at another date, like I think a month afterwards, and this time the lady was like, I can't verify your identity. What's on your social security is different from the other documents that you presented to us. So looking at this, my social security, I realized that they had placed both my middle names, because I have two middle names. So for all the parents who want to give their children two middle names because they think it's cute, that caused me a huge problem. Anyway, so social security, their system can only accommodate a certain amount of characters for the middle name section. All right, there's a section for the first name, a section for the middle name on the application, and a section for the last name. Their program can only accommodate a certain amount of characters for the middle name section. I think they said 15 characters. My two middle names put together, my two middle names exceed the 15 characters. So what Social Security did, and I saw it, but I didn't even think anything of it. They placed both my middle names together as one long name, and because that's the best thing that they could have done. Like I said, I saw it from I got it, but I never thought anything of it because I'm like, whatever. Went to DDS to get my state ID, and they're saying my middle name is looking different from my birth certificate, my passport, and every other document that I had to show them. So I was explaining to them, this is what Social Security gave to me. I don't really know what to do. And they're like, oh, I'm sorry, you'll have to go back down by Social Security and try to get it sorted out. Remember that this was my second time going to DDS. So went back to Social Security, told them about the issue that I was having with DDS because I really wanted to get a state ID. And they were like, that's when I found out that they could do nothing about it because that's just how their system was set up. They can't accommodate any more characters. So I'm like, okay, so that means I will never be able to drive. Let's forget about the state ID, but I need a driver's license too, eventually, right? You're telling me that because of this, I'll never, ever, 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 ever be able to drive. Thankfully for me, I'm in a county or in an area where buses run, right? So currently I take the bus to work, and my husband drives now. He picks me up in the afternoons. But let's say the bus thing didn't exist because most of my colleagues are living in areas where there's no bus or trains or whatever, and they have to either drive or take expensive Uber every single day. So I'm like, forever and ever and ever and ever, I will not be able to have a driver's license. Like, I may not want a car now, but in the future, if I want to get a car, I won't get it because my middle name's too long. Like, this is crazy. I'm pretty sure there are lots of people all over the world who have migrated to the US with longer names than mine. And so why me? So anyway, at Social Security telling them my issue, they can't do anything about it. And they still issued me another card with the same thing because they're saying that if they separate the name, some of the characters are going to come off. So they had to put it together. Or anyway, went back to DDS and told them what Social Security said. Same problem again. They can't verify my identity because when they put in my name, it's not accepting it. And so that was the last time I went to DDS. I think it was last year, April. And I've just been like, if I go back to DDS, the only thing I'm going to do next to get my card, my state ID, is cry. I'm going to go down there and I'm going to lay on the floor and I'm going to cry and say, listen, I cannot take an Uber everywhere that I'm going to. So please give me my state ID in Jesus' name. Amen. Yesterday, after many months, almost a year since I last visited DDS, I decided to go to a different office because all along I've been going to the office 5 minutes down the road from where I live. And I looked at different offices. I realized that there was one directly in Atlanta and there was one in a city called Fayetteville. And I was like, let me go to the DDS in Atlanta. Then my spirit say, mm-mm, don't go to Atlanta because Atlanta DDS will probably have a lot of people. And if there's any issue, they're not going to be patient because they probably just want to get through with the other customers. And my spirit said, go to DDS in Fayetteville. And so I went to DDS in Fayetteville because yesterday we had a virtual day and I left work early. So I was able to go do that. I went to DDS in Fayetteville, and from the moment I stepped in and I saw that there was barely anybody in there and there were mostly white people in there, I was like, this looks promising. This looks promising. This looks different from the other DDS that I've been visiting all along. And can you believe not only did I not have to wait long like I did before, I went straight up to the counter and I was just there waiting for the man to tell me that the system is not accepting my thing. And the man just here you go. I'm like, what? What? No problem? Nothing? Mind you, this is the same social security card that I've been using from last year trying to get the thing, Different office, no problem. I mentioned that this office mainly had a different demographic in the place. However, another thing to note, and maybe I'm just being difficult, and maybe I'm, but anyway, the first office that I went to, the people who were dealing with me were not Black people. Let me put it that way. This office, while it had mainly white people in there as customers, the person at the counter who served me was one of my people. And like I said, maybe I'm thinking about it too hard or too strong, but what changed between last year and now? As I said, it's the same card that I presented. So why am I able to get it now and not all along? I went 3 times before last year and 1 time to this new office. What has changed other than the office? And all offices are supposed to be the same, right? Yeah. Somebody tell me if I don't think it's strange as well. Am I the only one? Like, maybe my brain is just, maybe I'm just messed up. Maybe my thinking is just messed up. But yeah. YAF, I am on Interlage, which is a J1 program. But you said that you use Teach Savannah, which is good. H1 visa. Teacher P. Donna said that her son has 2 middle names. Why parents love to give them children 2 middle names? Why? Me and all my sisters have 2 middle names. Why parents like to give their children 2 middle names? And quite frankly, like most forms that I fill out, I just use one of my middle names because the second one can't hold most of the times. When I was having this issue with DDS, people were telling me, oh well, you just have to change your name. Listen, to change my name, let's think about it and talk about it. What would that entail? I'm not in Jamaica, right? How would that work now? I'd have to get it changed on my something there first. What do you call it? On my birth certificate first. That would be a process. Then get it changed on my marriage certificate, changed on my TRN, changed on my passport, changed on my visa, changed on my work permit, changed on... There's so many things, so many documents that I would have to get changed just by changing my name. That would that would be like a year-long process and just would not make sense. Might as well go back to my yard. Thanks for being so transparent with your experience so far. You have inspired me to take the plunge and try to see what's possible. Yes! Go and and explore and see what is out there. You'll never know until it. Listen, I always tell people, and I know a lot of people come and they're afraid to go back home. It's better you come and test the waters, and if it doesn't work out for you, go back home. Go back home. There's no shame in it. If you come and it's not for you, go back home or try a different country. But don't stay in your situation. Don't stay in Jamaica. Don't stay in Africa. Don't stay in India. Don't stay in the Philippines. Don't stay where you are and complain about what is going on in your situation, and then you're doing nothing to change it. If there are opportunities outside of Jamaica, outside of Africa, outside of India, outside of the Philippines, outside of the Caribbean, take the opportunities. Take the opportunities. By the way, for my Jamaican teachers, those of you listening in here, you're not Jamaican. There's something happening now in Jamaica with teachers striking for better pay. And I was saying to a friend of mine the other day that boy, Jamaican teachers don't even realize the privilege that you have to be able to strike. Because I'm in Georgia and Georgia is a no union state. I heard that they've tried to develop unions before for teachers and they've shut it completely down. So what this, has caused when you don't have a union to represent you, anything goes. You have to accept anything goes. And so I'm looking at, there was a text message that was sent to say, okay, teachers, you should just take a casual leave for these 2 days. And I'm thinking why that wouldn't work here is because in order to take our personal days, we'll have to request to take our personal days. And if your request has to be accepted by your principal. If your principal does not accept your request to take a personal day, you'll be getting leave without pay. And you still take the day, you'll be getting that leave without pay for that day. So right off the bat, we would not be able to do a strike of any sort like that to say, okay, we're just going to stay home and we're just going to take our casual days. Because, in Jamaica, you're privileged to your personal days. You're privileged to get your personal days like that. And in Jamaica, like, there have been times where I take a personal day, not, sending it in days before. And then when you come back to work, you just sign up the paper that, hey, I wasn't here. But here, yes, you have to sign it up at least a week before. Some counties 2 weeks before, and you have to get it approved. Like I said earlier on, when I was trying to do my contest the first time, I wasn't able to do it the first time in October because the day that I had requested wasn't approved. If I had just taken a day, no money for that day because it's not approved. A sick day you can take without it get being approved initially because you can call in sick. But a personal day, nope. There are some little things that I do miss about teaching in Jamaica. For example, I miss having, well, being able to have five. When you teach for 5 consecutive years, you get 4 months 4 months leave, right? Vacation leave. And when you work for 10 consecutive years, you can get 8 months vacation leave. Nothing like that right here. I miss that. Honestly, I miss that about the Jamaican teaching system. There are other little things that I miss as well, and I think I'm probably gonna do a YouTube video separately on the things that I miss. But there are quite a few things. But guess what? There are some things that are definitely advantageous to teachers in Jamaica. There are other things as well that we know just cannot work, and so that causes us or has caused some of us to leave. Yes, Natasha said to take the sick leave then. So yeah, if people were to strike, but that's the thing. Remember, when we're striking, people know that it's a strike. And so if all of a sudden, if suddenly everybody is calling in sick, obviously you're taking part in this strike, and we don't have a union to represent us if something goes wrong. So we got to keep our butts quiet. Remember, this is not for all of the US, this is just for Georgia. Rough. Rough, man, rough. It is so rough not being able to do some of those things. Like, we take some things for granted, back home in Jamaica. But that's how the cookie crumbles. How long is the maternity leave in Georgia? Edna, I'm going to tell you what I've heard, not what I know for sure. I've heard that the maternity leave is 3 weeks with pay and nothing more. Anything else, it would have to be days without pay. So I've also heard that some people, because we have our sick days accumulating, so every month they get one more sick day. So by the end of the year, if you didn't take any of your sick days, you'd have 12 sick days and it runs over into the next year. So let's say I've been working, let me see, my math's not good enough. Let's say I've been working for 3 years. Yes, simple maths, and I have to be doing calculation. What is 3 twos? Everybody tell me what is 12 times 3? What is 12 times 3? Jesus, well, and 12 times 2 is 24. 36. Let's say, okay, so let's say I've been working for 3 years, never took vacation leave. Thank you guys. My math is bad, but don't judge me. Let's say you didn't take any of your sick days, which is next to impossible. If it's even one sick day or two out of the year, you're probably going to take. But let's say you never took any of your sick days for 3 years straight. That means you'd have 36 sick days accumulated already, right? So you get your 3 weeks for your maternity leave, and you have accrued 36 sick days. I've heard that what some people do is they limit the amount of sick days that they take prior to being pregnant so that they can have some more days to add to their leave with pay, which I guess makes sense because 3 weeks is like crazy, like just 3 weeks. And once again, this isn't solid information. This is what I've heard, not what I'm sure of. I'm not 100% sure about the whole maternity leave thing and how it works here. But if there's somebody in the comments who knows how it works in Georgia in the education system, like, by all means, let us know. Let us know how that works. Yes, Natasha, 3 weeks. 3 weeks for you to feel better. Wait, so you've been working for 12 years and you're begging for your leave. What do you mean? You're working for 12, you're supposed to get your 8 months leave. That's the next thing I don't like. So why we have these benefits in Jamaica? Those are the little things that irk my soul. And the power that, and I know that it's not just all up to the principals, but I know that some of the principals can push for some of their teachers a little bit more. Some of the principals can try to push for their teachers a little bit more. Because you've been working for 12 years and you can't get your 8 months leave up to now, come on. No, man. They need to do better with that. The favoritism, that's... And even like many of us in Jamaica would say like, oh, we don't want any job where it's contracted. But here we're on contract. But like I told my husband some time ago, I prefer to be on a contracted job here than in Jamaica because Jamaican principals, and I don't want to, let it seem like it's all of them. But some Jamaican principals, they'll use that and put that over your head. Like, oh, you're on a contract as you're probably coming late one morning, not renewing your contract, or, just put it over your head. I mean, if in today's day, if in 2023, you have Jamaican principals not bringing back teachers because they get pregnant in their first year, let's talk about that. If we were contracted teachers, all of us in Jamaica, many of us would constantly be threatened. Our jobs would be threatened all the time. Malika, you don't get 2 weeks after 6 weeks in Jordan. No. The 2 weeks break? No, ma'am. It depends on the different counties have different rules though. Different counties have different rules. So like in my county, it's not a set thing to say, oh, after 6 weeks you get a break. We have like midterm breaks and we have like days off, but it's not like in England where we spoke to Deidre last week where she said every 6 weeks. Every 6 weeks she get a week off or 2 weeks off. Not like that, ma'am. Nope. But yeah, I could never be a contracted worker under some of these principals in Jamaica because they would hold it over your head. When I did that TikTok some time ago telling people that in 2023, at the time when I did the video, I think it was 2022, there are some principals not to bring in teachers back because they get pregnant in the first year. And people are saying, no, that can't be true. Not no go so. Yeah, something it goes so. It's like that in some of these schools, especially some of the Christian schools. And my thing is, I'm a Christian, but you can't expect everybody else to uphold Christian values because not everyone is a Christian. And while Jamaica is a Christian nation, not everyone is a baptized Christian. And even if you are, you can't let Christian values run your professional institution. I hope you guys get what I'm saying. So if a teacher get pregnant, especially out of wedlock in her first year, you can't use that to say you're not coming back to my school. It has to be something valid. Oh, you're not turning in your lesson plans. Or, and usually, of course, they don't tell these teachers, oh, you're not coming back because you got pregnant. They don't do that. We know that they don't do that. But the little words that they use and the little petty things that they use to say that you're not coming back, we know as a fact that is because you get pregnant. A friend of mine got pregnant in her first year. Some of the teachers did not know that she was actually married because she wasn't wearing a ring. And she had people come up to her and tell her that, listen, you need to start looking for another job because this school is not going to take you back next year being pregnant out of wedlock. And some of the schools, even if you're married and you get pregnant in wedlock in your first year, it's like a big thing. Like, they're not taking you back. And some of the schools, let's say you've been there for more than a year, and so they can't really fire you so easily. What they do, they withhold promotion from you. And I'm like, that's why I would not want Jamaica to have contracted teachers. Like, it would be crazy. Like, the power that these principals would hold, they wouldn't know what to do with it. My brother is a police, and every 2 years, he gets 3 months leave and does not need to beg. Wow. Every 2 years? Wow. In Jamaica? Wow. That's awesome. That would be nice. Let me do a check. I've been here for 47 minutes and I see 17 people on. I see where Teacher P has been commenting, Natasha has been commenting, and some other people. Where are you guys commenting from? Type your country and let me know what country you are commenting from. Let me see where you guys are right now. And for those of you who are just joining, Teacher P down in the comments is my cousin. Oh, my thing was reconnecting. She has a YouTube as well. Go over to my cousin page and subscribe. Okay, we have people here from Ghana. We have people here from, of course, Jamaica. Jamaica and Ghana in the building. Anybody else? I love Ghanaians, by the way. I have two friends in Ghana. Nana Kwame. I love Ghanaians. You guys speak tree, right? I can't pronounce it. TWI, or some of you. And the Ghanaian accent is so much different from the Nigerian accent. Because of the Nigerian movies that were coming out, I was, thinking that, this was the same accent in Ghana. But Ghanaians sound more, who do they sound more like? I don't know, but they definitely don't sound Nigerian at all. Like, what we consider to be an African accent, it's that's not the accent that they have like so much. But bless up on yourself if you are from Ghana. And guys, if you have any more comments, now would be the time because I'm thinking about heading out. Like, it's been 50 minutes and I need to get back to my daily life. I'm going on the road later on. I like going out with my friend. Guys, it's so hard making friends here. Yeah, I have so many videos to do. I really want to talk about how I made my friend here. People are gonna judge me, but I don't care. Like, whatever. Um, but yeah. Okay, Teacher P, I'll wait 10 more minutes. I'll wait 10 more minutes. If you guys have questions about me, you can ask. I'm here. I'm an open book, as you guys know. When your application is in the pool, what does the if your application is in the pool, my darling, you are good to go. Because from what I've learned about Savannah, is when they put you in a pool, it's almost like you're gonna be accepted. So let's say your pool has 5 schools in there. Um, and let's say interview with one principal and you didn't get through for that school, interview with another principal, you didn't get through. Somebody from the pool has to take you because you're already in the pool. So it's all good. It's all good. You're gonna get through, yeah. Hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Hi, Carrie. Love to see the Jamaican flags in the chat. Big up on yourself. And for those of you non-Jamaicans, when I say big up on yourself, I'm basically, guys, how would you translate big up on yourself in English to let somebody understand what you're really saying? It's like I'm giving them a shout out when I say big up on yourself. Yes, police in Jamaica get good benefits from us. And my brother could book his ticket and sit and wait on. Wow. Wow. Look at, wow. Like, I know that police are always like complaining about their pay as well, but I didn't know that they had these nice benefits. Oh, half is Faye. Okay, Faye. Sorry. You just put your name back way or okay. Okay, Faye, got it. And for those of you who keep watching and keep commenting, keep commenting because you guys saw I did a giveaway the other day, and I'll continue to do giveaways as we continue to grow. But you have to comment in order for me to get to know you, like, and I know 1 or 2 names now. I'm getting used to seeing certain names, and I want to do more giveaways. Next week, you guys, we're gonna have a live on, not on teaching, but I still hope that you guys still join. It's gonna be a conversation about marriage, about different people talking about their marriage experience, people who have gotten married young, like between 18 and 24, people who got married a little bit older, between 26 and 30, and hopefully I can get somebody who has gotten married over the age of 30 to talk as well. Further down the line, we're gonna have divorcees speak about their experience and some of the red flags that they had ignored that manifested throughout their marriage. What is the next step after the gays ethics in Interlage? And thank you, Teacher P. The next step after the gays ethics, the thing is, I think they changed the process a little bit from when I applied, because I did my ethics test after I got through with my job, and that's how it was with most of my friends who are on Interlage as well. But they're doing a different process, I guess. But let's look out for an interview from one of the schools or from one of the counties if you haven't gotten that already. And the process that you're really looking for is to have your interview and to be successful with your interview. Like, everything else is secondary to that. Once you get your interview and you're successful, you're just looking out for them to send you your work authorization so you can sign up for your visa and get the heck out of your country. Hi, Carrie. Does Interlage only take foreign language teachers? Is it a sponsored program? Yeah, it's a sponsored program, not meaning that they're giving you money or anything. But they don't just take foreign language teachers. They take English, math, social studies, primary, and the primary ed teachers, early childhood teachers. I've seen them take art teachers before. I don't know if them taking music teachers, but I always tell people to still go ahead and apply. Hi, Michelle. I always tell people to still go ahead and apply, because you never know. You never know. Like, they do apply on a needs basis, because sometimes schools will reach out and say, "Hey, we need a music teacher," and if your application is already in the database, they'll be searching to see if they have anybody for music, and they'll give you a call. Because, like I told you guys in my previous videos, I applied from 2019, At the time when I applied, it was like later down in the year. So they probably didn't need me. And then by the other year was COVID or whatnot. So, and when they reached out to me, I guess they really needed a Spanish teacher at the time, and so they just reached out to me, and I got the interview to do the day after, and that was it. So it doesn't hurt to apply. It's free to apply. Just apply. You never know who will actually reach out to you. You never know. You never know. So yeah, I'm wishing you guys all the best of luck. Those of you who are still on your journey to, acquire a school district in the US or whatever country that it is that you're looking for, be it England, China, um, uh, Dubai, or wherever in the world. I wish you guys all the best. And by the way, speaking about these countries, you guys know that we did the lives on these countries the other day. And I'm thinking, like, if you're here and you watched any of those lives, or even if you didn't watch a live, which one of these countries would you actually prefer to work in? USA, England, or China, based on what you've heard or whatever? Based on what they just said in the last live, I'm actually feeling England a little bit. But Teacher P, with the England salary, she did say that. I know I've heard that people say that it's not all that, but she did say that she's not getting her current salary yet because she doesn't have the qualified teacher status thing that they're looking for yet. Um, so I don't know. The only thing that she said that really scared me was that she had 12 classes, but everything else sounded good because she said after 6 weeks you get the 2 weeks off. You only give them one grade for the year and all of that. But it still sounds like an option. It still sounds like it can be better than Jamaica. Thank you so much, Michael. I appreciate it. Ooh, Faye said she would go to the Middle East. Cool. My original spot, I wanted to go to Dubai, but I was applying the wrong way. I was applying um I was applying directly to schools and not through programs because I always heard that okay, agencies will take your money. And so I was applying directly to schools because I didn't want the people them to take my money. And so I wasn't getting through. But anyway, USA came through for me. But I originally wanted to go to Dubai. But now that I'm in the USA, I don't think I would move to Dubai because it's just so far from Jamaica. And I want to be close enough to my family where if I'm to take a plane ride, it's close enough. It's close enough. But if anything, I think I would go to England, push come to shove. Guys, Cayman is an option too. Would you guys go to Cayman? I'm gonna see if I can get somebody from Cayman to talk to you guys. But Cayman is an option. China. My issue with China, you see, when they talked about the R word in China, that scares me a lot. Coming from Jamaica, where we don't experience the R word, we might experience colorism and classism, but the strong R, we don't experience that, and that really bothers me. I know it's here in the US, but where I am is predominantly black, and so I don't have to worry about those things. Working in a daycare sounds nice in China. Oh, okay. My friends, they were saying that they're at kindergarten, not necessarily at a daycare. But yeah, the options are out there. Like, why not? Oh, you originally wanted to go to the Middle East, got a job in Japan, but settled for the US. Are you happy in the US, Marlene? Because when it says settled for the US, it's so away. My issue with Cayman though, like even if they paid me $1 million every month, I feel like I've never been like what should I say? I've always liked the idea of like city life and whatnot. I know being a first world country. I don't know if I want to go back to island living. Not say I wouldn't, but I don't know if I want to go back to island living. That's my issue. Big up Cayman anyway though. Big up Cayman same way. Why are you afraid of the Middle East? Not why are you afraid of the Middle East? I wouldn't be afraid to go to Dubai. I don't think I would be. I guess because I know people in Dubai and they say that it's so nice and safe and you can leave your bag anywhere and nobody will see it and all these things. I don't think I'd be fearful of going to. Well, I guess it depends on where in the Middle East. I keep saying Dubai, but the Middle East comprises of different places. But Dubai specifically, I wouldn't be afraid of going. Yes, teacher P. I've heard that as well. The housing can be expensive, like $2,000 or so for rent and those things. Like that's wild. That is crazy. That is absolutely crazy. Kindergarten. Okay, Natasha. I don't know how I feel about teaching young children. I've never been comfortable with the idea of teaching children younger than, let's say, 10 years old. I don't. It's not my thing, and that's why I did secondary education in the first place. Cause like, my image of younger children, and I have to big up all the early childhood teachers, all the primary teachers all the time. My biggest thing with teaching kids, like younger kids, I keep seeing no, it's not in my mind like, uh, and I keep thinking of like a child throwing up and you have to clean that up, and a child peeing or doing number two on themselves and you have to clean. I don't know, like maybe my idea is wrong and that's not how it is, but that's all I am seeing in my mind, and I cannot, maybe because I don't have children of my own yet, but like I cannot. I'm afraid of the iguanas in Cayman. I don't even know enough about Cayman. I didn't even know that Cayman was filled with iguanas. Where I would really want to go teach, but they just don't pay well enough. I'd really want to go to one of the Hispanic countries to teach. Like, I'd want to go to Spain or somewhere in Latin America. But most of these countries don't pay more than $1,000 for the month. And I'm like, what can that do? $1,000 is like 150,000 Jamaican dollars. I'm not leaving my country for $1,000 a month. That does not make sense. But I would definitely want to go to one of those countries to work. And I've also thought about, and maybe my Ghanaian teachers in the chat can tell me if I'm crazy for thinking that way. But I've also thought about like teaching in one of the African countries. Like, I know everybody has their struggles everywhere, but it sounds like it would be very interesting to teach. What is teaching in Ghana like? Like, can you pay? Can you save out of your pay? If any one of my Ghanaians are still in the chat, can you save out of your pay? Yes, catching water and climbing hills is real island life. Yeah, I cannot. I cannot. And no, I don't want people to think that catching water is island life, because not every most island people have running water. If the pay is so low, maybe the cost of living is cheap. Listen, the pay is low in these Hispanic countries, and the cost of living is not cheap. Same way, it's the Cayman pay very nice. I have colleagues who are living it up in Cayman. Currency stronger than the US. Is the currency stronger though? Somebody Google Cayman's rate to the US and tell us in the chat, please. What is Cayman's currency when compared to the US? What's one US to Cayman or one Cayman to US? Very, very bad in Ghana. Why? Well, I guess I don't want to say because somebody's running from their country, it means that their country isn't good. Because I always talk about this. Haitians, not Asians, but Haitians, people from Haiti, they're always trying to escape and go to Jamaica, right? And people would say, why are you trying to go to Jamaica when Jamaica isn't like all that? Teachers in Jamaica are leaving, so why teachers and police, everybody in Jamaica are trying to leave the country, and Haitians are trying to get into Jamaica. But for them, Jamaica is better than their country. So not because somebody is leaving their country, because teachers all over the US are leaving too. But guess what? We coming from a different country, we understand the treasure that they have, and they don't realize that they got it. So other people make benefit. One man's trash, another man's treasure. So Even though Michael says this is very bad in Ghana, who knows? Maybe we would enjoy it. Oh, Cayman currency is close to the euro. Wow. Oh, you're in Ghana teaching French. Bienvenue, Michael. Bienvenue. Um, no, it's not. Don't bother me. I have two children. Natasha, that's the thing. I keep saying it. Maybe because I don't have kids. I can't fathom why nose not from somebody else's child. And I feel like even if I had kids, I would still feel that way. It's like if I wipe my own nose, I know that that's still germs. But wiping somebody else, no, it just feel like I'm just wiping somebody else's germs. Like, I'm about to sound real shallow, so let me shut up. Let me shut up because I'm about to sound real shallow. But yeah, guys, I've been saying I'm gonna leave. I am gonna leave. I'm hungry. I'm hungry. Okay, Faye, work on those questions for real. Oh, there's a drought happening right now in Ghana. That's sad. That's sad. It seems like we have water problems in some places in Jamaica. Guys, since I've been here, the water went away one time for almost a week. Can I tell you, I prefer to be in Jamaica without water than being here without water. Because at least in Jamaica, if somebody has a tank somewhere or you have your tank somewhere, but living in an apartment and water gone, that was like the worst experience ever. Jesus, that was horrible. That was like real horrible. My God, it was. You know what? Yeah, almost a week without water. And we're like, oh my God, big, big America. But there, what was happening? It was during the cold time the other day. Was it December? Sometime in December. During Christmas, Jesus said us Christmas Day. Big, big Christmas Day, no water. It's because the temperatures were at freezing point and some of the pipes in a lot of homes and apartments, they were bursting and whatnot. And so I think they turned off the water for a few days to fix whatever it was. And that was what was happening. So I don't think it was like a lack of water. They were just trying to control whatever was happening with the pipes that were busting out and stuff. Working hard to land one in the US one day, and you will. And you will. Guys, can I tell you that manifesting things in your life is very important? It is important to manifest things in your life. Just a week ago, my little sister sent me. When I say little sister, she's not little, but my younger sister, she sent me a video of her reading a book that she found for me that I wrote in seventh grade. And it was one of those my life in 10 years situation. And can I tell you the prophecy that I spoke over my life? So in the thing, I said that I would be working overseas. I said I would be teaching Spanish overseas. I said I would be married. I said I would be rich. I would say I'm rich, but I don't claim poverty on myself. So I will never tell people that I'm poor, ever. From childhood, I've always, like, if somebody said to me poor thing, I always said, don't call me poor thing. I'm not poor, I'm rich in Jesus' name. I don't call them poverty on myself. But almost everything, and in the book, oh my God, I just remember the thing about it that blew our minds about what I talked about my life in 10 years. And 10 years from that point would have been 2017. I wrote that I would be married to a teacher. That blew my mind because, guys, married to a teacher, and 10 years from that date when I wrote that thing, as I said, was 2017, and I got married in 2017. It might not have been 10 years directly from that date where I started working overseas, but almost I think there are just like two things in that my life in 10 years thing that I wrote that has not yet come to fruition. But everything else, line upon line, precept upon precept, listen, speak positively over your life. There is power in the tongue. And so if you desire something, you desire to come overseas to teach, speak it as if it's already like that. Speak it as if it's already like that. People will tell you, even the year before I got married, before I even got engaged or anything, I kept telling people that I'm getting married in 2017. I kept telling people that I'm getting married in 2017. 2017, I got engaged and got married. So how you survive without water in America? Child, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. We so we bought a lot of we already but my husband, he's always saving up water. Like he's always saving up water. So like when we buy the big bottles of juice, he's always putting water. And I always tell him, listen, we're in a first world country. I don't need to do that. Because we do that in Jamaica. Put down store bottles of water just in case. And he would be like, first world country, you never know what can happen. So we had bottles of water stored up. That's number one. And two, we always have water, like drinking water that we purchase, because we don't drink water from the pipes. So we had that, and then the fire station was giving out more free cases of water. So we went bye Michelle. Right. So we face clapping happy. Yes. Yeah, so we got cases of water from the fire station as well. And we had to make do with what we had. Toilets and all is all I will say. I'm not talking about it. I'm gonna call that the dark week. Big Christmas day, no water. And the funny thing is, we had originally planned to go to our friend's house for Christmas Day, and then we changed our minds, and we're like, maybe we should have just gone, because we couldn't, cook any big dinner or anything Christmas Day with no water. Like, yeah. Well, that was what it was. So yes, guys, my parting words to you is pray for it, claim it, and believe it. It is done. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you guys for watching. If you haven't hit the like button as yet, hit the like button. And if you have not yet subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe. I'll see you guys next week in our next live. Thank you, Faye. Thank you all for being here. Bye again.